Hey, this is Angus. Welcome to this tutorial. It's a crazy tutorial. It's going to be fun, and it's not going to be like a tutorial that you're used to seeing. First part of it is I'm going to just quickly tell you sort of the idea, and then we're going to build it in Blender. But the building in Blender is a little bit more complex, but the way I'm going to teach it to be built in Blender is because I've got a bunch of friends who are artists who really need to know how to use Blender to just get some stuff done, but they've never really opened it before. And I think that's kind of a nice way to actually get into sort of teaching Blender, because I struggled with the concept of tutorials. Even though I've used Blender in a really sort of deep way. 5 years ago I did a couple of projects and really got good at it, but Blender's sort of changed now too, and I've been doing Houdini and art and all sorts of other things in the meantime, so I'm kind of coming back to Blender. But I think Blender is really fantastic, and the reason I'm going to be teaching this in Blender is because this concept of what we're going to do in this tutorial tonight, and this is the start of this thing, is we're going to be building an art gallery, and it's going to be in a metaverse concept called the Phantaverse, which is on the Phantasma Blockchain. And I'm not paid or sponsored or anything. I just really like the people on that project, and I'm friends with a bunch of those people, and we're all artists trying to sort of build a new ecosystem. And everyone's got experience of Ethereum and printing and NFTs and stuff, so it's really funny to see Andrew Price come out with his video about he doesn't understand NFTs when he's got a business model which is just to make Blender tutorials to sell his products, sort of throwing shade on art. But art's fantastic. Like, art doesn't have to be as polished as a Blender series of tutorials. And in fact, I'm kind of anti-Blender tutorials for that reason, because I just keep seeing tutorials where people do these really amazing processes, but you just know that they've rehearsed them, and it's not going to give knowledge that people are actually going to be able to build. Well, they are, but then people have to watch so many tutorials. Anyway, so that's rant. So I'm going to build in Blender, and I'm going to use Magica Voxel. I'm going to use Inkscape because it's free. I'm going to use Krita because I love it. It's beautiful. And CMYK is my artist friend. I'm just going to show you CMYK's gallery. And there's this Chloe the Dev, who's a developer who creates experiences in Cryptovoxels. I'm going to show you Chloe's website. And this logo is by Nick, who's a really amazing, just really, really good YouTube channel teaching Inkscape. And I'd never really loved Inkscape until I watched his channel, and then now I love it. And he's great, like he's really good. And the reason is because Blender's fantastic, but Blender's curve tools and it's kind of all that sort of stuff dealing with lines and stuff, coming from a 3D Studio Max background where that was all really, you could sort of Boolean lines and do all sorts of intricate shapes and stuff. I've always found Blender a little bit deficient in that, but if you put Blender and Inkscape together, you get this absolute powerhouse. So I think Blender's always best used with other programs that can do things that sort of pull stuff into, like even with compositing, I use Fusion and I use After Effects. It's just, it extends what Blender can do. So Cryptovoxels is built by a guy called Ben, or not just one guy, but one of the main developers is called Ben, and that team is based in New Zealand. And they initially, when they set out to build it, I think their early tests were on the Godot engine, and Godot's fantastic. And then now they build on Babylon JS, which is a JavaScript thing. So we're building an art gallery, and it's going to be an interactive art gallery that goes online. And I've looked at like Verge 3D and a few things like that for that are plugins for Blender, but it needs to be a games engine. Now, I was really dedicated to maybe doing it on Unreal, but the problem with Unreal is it's still a commercial engine. So even if you can build your game for free up to $1 million. After that, it's all licensing stuff. Whereas with Blender, there's no licensing. All the artists involved can all have a copy of Blender. With Godot or Babylon JS, they can have a copy of that. But I don't code, so I can code a little bit, but like being in a JavaScript interface to kind of, get 3D objects to go around the scene, it's not my kind of thing. I'd rather be in a game engine. Godot has the same kind of interface, obviously coding and games logic. So we're going to build this project in Blender. We're going to build this proof of concept in Blender. Where's Blender gone? I'll just whack Blender up. So we're going to build it in Blender, and Blender is obviously really cool, and it's going to be the main thing. And this is a proof of concept, and we're going to do stuff with Krita. So I'm going to kind of get started. I just quickly wanted to just take you to two experiences in Cryptovoxels, just so you can see that it's like I didn't have to sign in. I can just play the game. I'm now in the game engine, and obviously the graphics have to load a little bit, but there they go. So now I'm in CMYK's gallery. So if I go out into the Cryptovoxels universe, right, and I have a look, and there's CMYK's gallery, which is really cool, which is a Sphinx. So you can fly, you just tap F and then you sort of hit the shift key and you kind of fly. And so now I'm flying, right, and I'm just going to sort of show you the area. And you know, people build cool things, like there's all sorts of stuff. You'll discover all these really crazy galleries when you start going around, and it sometimes looks a bit empty, but that's because the world's drawers. You get because of the games engine, because it's a web-based games engine. As you get closer to things, parks appear and buildings appear and new galleries appear, all drawers in front of you, so it's awesome. And now if we come down into the gallery, let's just go and have a little look. And so you can go around the gallery, and you know, like, as you can click on every piece of art and you see, you know, all these beautiful pieces of art, and they've got the provenance of the art and links, and I think this stuff's already sold, so there's no link to buy it. And you can go around and you can read all. I mean, I'm going to do a quick tour because, you know, I just want to show the space. So CMYK can have venues here and invite lots of people, and people all turn up at the same time. And there's a really good async video on YouTube, the async programmable art gallery, and they had a really good event where they just had a lot of people. It was really fun. Oh, actually, I got lost. Okay, so I want to get up there, so I'm going to fly up, flying. Whoa. Oh. And you can see that there's all this really cool. So this floor, the top floor of CMYK's gallery, sorry, this is not a good demonstration, but I'm going to come back to the gallery. It's just I couldn't find the stairs, but that's just me being dumb. You see, CMYK's got all these really cool art in there. Yeah, and so that's like a floor to sort of show stuff. And then we'll come back. This is the penguin, which CMYK told me to come and visit, and it's really cool. And when you know, I think the scope of what people can build is just absolutely beautiful, because you can put art on the walls and you can build things in very simple style, just very, you know, like very kind of cube orientated. It's like they build in Magica Voxel, but the art is real, and this is the thing. It's like art is art. It doesn't have to look like, you know, finely rendered blended stuff. It can be from everything, and you know, 2D art. So you know, when you click on things, you see everything. So you can go around and explore. This is like the whole Pepe culture stuff, and then, you know, you can have animated GIFs, and so this is all Pepe stuff, obviously. But you know, it's cool. It's like it's really cool. It's sort of, and it's kind of like, you know, it's kind of, this is Pepe sort of driving off CryptoPunks, and you know, like transcriptions of other art paintings, and I just think it's great. It's, you know, we don't have to be perfect, and that's the thing when you're learning Blender, you kind of tend to. I mean, I got put off with so many tutorials because it was like, okay, this is how we build this amazing world in Blender, or how we do this, or how we do that, and it's like, well, it's great, but what, like, do a project, and anyway, you know, that's. And I'm not knocking Blender, because the Blender community is absolutely fantastic, but I'm sort of saying that art has a value, and art doesn't have to be beautifully executed, because the imperfection of it, or the roughness of it, is the art, and it's just like, you know, that's cool. That's so great. You know, I'd love to have all of these kind of pieces. I've been collecting in Phantasma, so this is obviously the Phantasma Blockchain, and you can go into the Ghostmarket, and obviously it will stop running now because I want to show you. Oh yeah, it came up. Okay, so these are all my kind of things that I've been collecting. This is a bunch of art that I've kind of bought off people. So this artwork here, this is a Venezuelan artist called Carmen Yanes, Triz Draw, and I bought her painting. Which is a 1 of 1, so it's an NFT. It's a rare 1 of 1. So I paid 1,100 Sol, which is $412 US for it, and I actually really like it. I'm really happy for it, and I'm going to build a gallery and put all this art that I've bought into, because I just think it's cool. I think it's really beautiful that, you know, it's not ArtStation. It's kind of people from other cultures, and I mean, I'm sure should do great on ArtStation, but it's more like a lot of the art that I'm finding is kind of music NFTs or sort of just a really good collection of stuff. I won't go through all of the different art that I've bought. I think I bought 90 different pieces, but a lot of it's really good and it's really interesting. And some of it's just really from a Blender perspective, like you'd look at this piece and you'd say, well, I could render that. I could render that myself, but it is a piece of art. There's only 3 of them, and I like it. It kind of had a sort of thing. I just liked it. Because I'd done work like that when I was learning Blender, and it was fun. But it's someone's put that together, and it's an actual piece of art, and that's like the art there is where the artist takes refuge. And there's a whole Twitter thing about it, and it's and there's only ever going to be 3 of them, and I got one of them, and it's got a value. Andrew Price might not think it has a value, but what does Andrew Price know? Okay, no, he knows a lot. I mean, just he's great, and he's been really good. He's been a really positive influence on Blender and stuff. But I think that sometimes you have to look outside of just that we're just using these tools to create this perfect stuff. So this artist here, this is my stuff that I bought. This is a guy called It's Freddy. He's a young Italian artist who works in Cinema 4D. He's only 22 years old, but he does nice stuff. And then this is work by a guy called Magus, and this is Victor X. This Victor X, I think his work. That's Victor's. This is a Greek artist. So again, this is a rare 3 of 3, and I bought one of them, and I got it. I mean, this was $100 US, which to buy a piece of art from someone that they've made as an artist. Like I could print this, I can hang it up on my wall. I can I really enjoy having this. It's actually really cool. And the only downside that I've got is that it's in my wallet. So a wallet looks like this. It's kind of, you have to log in, and then in there, once you log in, you see all your art and stuff. And my artist name is Norg. So it's like, okay, maybe 1 person, 2 people in the Blender community might find this interesting, but it is interesting. This is an illustration of a guy called, the artist is called Chutz, Chutz, and he's in Louisiana, I think. Chutzcraft, yeah. This is his statement of his art, and I think it's all hand drawn, and then he scans it, and it's absolutely beautiful. So I got 1 of 2 of this, which is great. So kind of why I want to build this gallery is because I just want to have a place to display this stuff. Probably any Blender people who are following this tutorial. So I'm doing art in 3D, and I'm buying other people's art because I like artists and I like art, and I'm really interested in it. So let's get started with the tutorial.